The Orlando Magic are coming off a spectacular season, and I think it's safe to say that this team is past the rebuilding phase. This last season, they finished 12 games over 500 with a record of 47-35. This was good enough to land them at 5th place in the Eastern Conference, which is a guaranteed playoff spot in today's NBA. And ultimately, they did come up short in the first round against the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they put up a great fight, taking a pretty solid team to 7 games. So all in all, it was a great season for the Orlando Magic, and they're going to be one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference in my estimation over the next couple of years, especially after what they did this offseason. I feel like they've gotten a lot better this offseason, and I want to start on what they did in free agency. Now, one of the Orlando Magic's, one of their biggest struggles was putting points on the board and also three-point shooting. So they went out there and they were really aggressive at the beginning of free agency, and they got one of the best 3-and-D players, one of the more underrated 3-and-D players in today's NBA, and that's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he was a Denver Nugget last season. This year, he decides to sign with the Orlando Magic on a 3-year, $66 million deal, and I think Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is definitely worth that money, given the situation that the Orlando Magic is in. And we talked about the Orlando Magic struggling from the three-point line. That's something that KCP has excelled at over the last couple of years, and the environment that he's coming from the Denver Nuggets to the Orlando Magic, he should adjust really well in the terms of the amount of shots he's going to put up and the type of shots that he's going to get playing with the Denver Nuggets. He played with a lot of great guys that draw a lot of attention. So he saw a lot of wide open threes, and he knocked them down at a very high clip, 40% from 3 over these last 2 seasons. So he comes to Orlando, guys like Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, who put tremendous pressure on the rim, just like Jokic, just like Jamal Murray, KCP. He should find himself getting those same wide open looks in Orlando, and I expect him to knock them down at a very high clip with the Orlando Magic. So he checks off that box of three-point shooting, but he also checks off a lot more. KCP, he's a well-rounded basketball player, and he can do just about a little bit of everything on the offensive side of the ball. And I want to start with some of those little things that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is also good at, but these little things can mean the biggest thing out there on the basketball court. One thing I love about KCP is his ability to move without the basketball, and not necessarily just moving around, running off screens to get open at the three-point line. And he does a good job. Of that as well. But he's also an outstanding cutter, and I feel like if you played with the Denver Nuggets over these last couple of seasons, the type of offense that they run, you're going to be good at cutting and finishing around the rim. And in basketball, at any different level, cutting is so important. It's so beneficial. The timing of it, how it can bail a player out of a double team, how you can catch the defense napping. You can open so many things up on the offensive side of the ball when you have an effective cutter out there, a guy that's not scared to cut. You ever played at the Y or at the rec center, and you got guys that's just standing around not cutting to the rim? So you get a guy that knows how to cut to the rim and is not scared to go up to finish. That's a plus on the offensive side of the ball. So Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, he's going to be adding three-point shooting, and he's also going to be adding the ability to move without the basketball, whether it's on the three-point line, cutting towards the rim, and also finishing around the rim. And then another little thing that KCP does well, and I've seen this a lot, I've seen the Nuggets a lot because I'm a huge fan of LeBron James, so every time that the Lakers and the Nuggets play, I'm watching the game. And another thing I've noticed about KCP, and I'm pretty sure he's picked this up from playing alongside guys like LeBron James, playing alongside guys like Jokic. He knows how to make those extra passes, or he knows how to make the right pass. If the defense is off balance and the offense has the ball moving, and it comes to KCP, he's going to know how to make the right decision, whether it is to shoot the ball or whether it is to keep that ball moving and either get a hockey assist or also get get a hockey assist or get a direct assist. And that's another thing that the Orlando Magic needs, some additional playmaking. Not saying that KCP is going to come there and beat Chris Paul, but he's also another smart decision maker and another smart passing. So he has that. And then also, he's not asked to do this, at least not recently in his NBA career, because he's been on such great teams, but he also has the ability to pump fake, put the ball on the floor, get to the mid-range area, and knock down that mid-range shot. And if it's a good day for KCP, he might be able to put the ball on the floor and get all the way down to the rim. So offensively, he's really good at shooting the three-point shot, and then he does a lot of the little things well, cutting, finishing around the rim, knocking down the mid-range pull-up. He's a very, very solid offensive player, and I think offensively he's going to fit like a glove with the Orlando Magic. And then we look at what he brings to the table on the defensive side of the ball. Another plus for the Orlando Magic, who was already one of the best defensive teams in the NBA. Last year, they finished second in the league in defensive rating. There is a few points in time last season where they were number one in the league in defensive rating, and then they were also fourth in the league in total opponent points per game. So they really get after it on the defensive side of the ball, and they built themselves a defensive identity. And KCP, he's going to come and add to that. KCP, now I think this is where the Denver Nuggets are really going to miss him a lot. He was the guy that would guard the opposing team's best perimeter scorer, or their best perimeter offensive igniter or offensive playmaker. So I think the Denver Nuggets are definitely going to miss KCP in that area. And now you look at the situation that the Orlando Magic is, and they already had a guy like that in Jalen Suggs. So now you have two of those guys with KCP and Jalen Suggs, two guys that's very, very defensive minded and gets after it on the defensive side of the ball. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Jalen Suggs is coming off a season where he just made the All-NBA the All-NBA team. So he's like that on the defensive side of the ball. And then KCP, since he's been in the NBA, since he's been competing on teams for championships, he's been one of the best perimeter defenders on those teams as well. So I think KCP, 3 years, $66 million for a young team on the rise that needed three-point shooting, needed a little bit more veteran presence, a guy with playoff experience, a guy that's won 2 championship rings. I think Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was an awesome find for the Orlando Magic, and they didn't just do a good job in free agency, they also did a good job in this year's NBA draft. And this is the first time in a while that the Orlando Magic has not picked in the NBA draft lottery. And honestly, they didn't need to. Like we said, they just established themselves as one of the better young teams in the Eastern Conference. And we can't see them falling off no time soon. It's just them continuing to get better. So in this year's NBA draft, they had the 18th overall pick. And I think the guy that they selected, I think this is a really, really great pickup when you're looking for those guys in the NBA draft that are NBA ready and ready to come in and contribute and help your team get better. They selected Tristan da Silva. I'm hoping I'm saying his name correctly, but they selected Tristan da Silva from the University of Colorado. He's a 4-year college player, and he's very, 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 very solid. He looked good at Colorado, and he also looked really good in the summer league. And I was just reading about his collegiate career. In college, he shot 37% from the three-point line. He shot over 40% on catch and shoot threes, and when coming off the dribble handoff, which is one of the biggest, it's like the biggest action that's taken over the NBA right now. Every team is adding that dribble handoff to the offense, but on dribble handoff threes, he shot 60% from 3. So like we said, the Orlando Magic, they were lacking three-point shooting, and I believe in the summer league he shot a crazy clip from 3. I believe over 55% in the summer league, and he was notarized as one of the best players in the summer league from this season. But we talked about the Orlando Magic needing more three-point shooting, so they've added 2 shooters to the roster this offseason, in Silva and in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. But he also brings a lot more to the game of basketball. Looking at him, he has some tremendous size. You find a guy that's 6'9" and can stretch the floor in today's game of basketball, that is a huge, huge plus. But with his size, him being 6'9", he's terrific on the defensive side of the ball. He's a great on-ball defender, a great off-ball defender in terms of when it comes to helping his teammates out. When they get beat, he can rotate down, he can rotate up to get steals in the passing lane. He's going to fit right in with the Orlando Magic. He's a great finisher around the rim. So the Orlando Magic, Magic, I like this selection a lot. I think this player is going to be able to come in immediately, get a spot in the rotation with this ability to knock down the 3-point shot, playing alongside Paolo Banchero, playing alongside Franz Wagner. And as a basketball player, I'm honestly excited to see this because we all know one of the most intriguing things about the Orlando Magic is all the size that they put out on the court. With Paolo being 6'10", Franz Wagner being 6'10", and those guys play the 3 and the 4. So you got another center out there that's usually 6'10" and up, and you got Jonathan Isaac on the team, and then you also add you add Tristan De Silva, who's 6'9", to this interesting front court. So the Orlando Magic, I think they've done a fantastic job this offseason. One thing I've been reading about is that they still want, or Paolo Banchero, he's expressed his concern about getting a more natural playmaker on the team to help him get some easier looks. That's the one thing that they didn't touch on, but I still think compared to last season, the Orlando Magic, who was already pretty good, I think they've gotten a lot better adding a guy like KCP to the team. A lot of people, man, KCP is a huge difference maker. We seen what he did for the Denver Nuggets. He turned the Denver Nuggets, I'm not going to say he did it by himself, but his impact, his effectiveness, it turned the Denver Nuggets into a powerhouse in the Western Conference. And I really think they're going to miss KCP. And then they also added this rookie that's ready to play, who looked good in college and also looked really good in the summer league. So shout out to the Orlando Magic front office, this organization. They are trending in the right direction. And that's what I want to talk about with you guys today. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment down below how you feel about the Orlando Magic's offseason, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man, and that's curtains.